I kind of did the edit backwards. Like most editors start with a really long assembly, and I chopped everything out. I think my first cut was like 60 minutes long.
Congratulations on Undertone getting into Sundance. But how did you find your way together onto this?
It honestly kind of fell into my lap. I've been working with the team that produced it and got it off the ground for, I don't know, over 10 years. And Dan Slater, our producer, sent me the script almost a year ago today, like around this time last year. And it was awesome. And then I met Ian, and the rest is history.
I think we've both worked with Dan for like the last 10 years, off and on.
Yeah, we love Dan Slater. I don't know if he's here.
Shout out Dan.
Shout out Dan.
He's somewhere. Yeah, and Cody, I've worked with the last 10 years. I've done probably a dozen movies with him. So yeah, it was an easy, sure, I'll do that.
It was an easy sure, but Sonny, how much experience did you have working in horror before this?
None. I worked as this is my first feature. I come from commercials, and I apprenticed at a place in Toronto called Rooster. Yeah, so this is all very new to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done maybe 20 or 30 horror movies, so I'm comfortable in the genre. Yeah. I'm not spooked anymore until I see it.
Oh, okay. So you do still get a little scared once the cut is finished.
Well, because I work in color, you don't get the final mix. So when I see the movie tomorrow, that'll be the first time I hear the movie, which if anyone's seen the trailer, it's very much a sound movie. So I'm looking forward to it.
Actually, maybe just quickly tease for the people what the premise of the film is.
It's about a young woman who's caring for her comatose, sick mother in her childhood home. And to keep her mind occupied, she runs a podcast about spooky audio things. And an anonymous source sends the podcast 10 audio files. And as they listen to them, shit goes crazy.
As someone who has not gotten you to see the film yet, but did see the trailer, can confirm. But AJ, that idea, you have done tons of horror before, so you kind of have a sense of the tone, the vibe. What were some of the immediate things that came to you about how to make this essentially look scary?
So much of this movie takes place in the shadows. It really, I mean, every movie, the biggest conversation is how dark do you go? How much negative space can you have on screen, not just silhouettes. So this one there's so many moments, without giving anything away, where it's just the image lives in that liminal space between what you can barely see, and I think there's a few moments where the debate was how much can you see her, or how many frames can we see this, so if you're not paying attention, you will miss some things in the shadows. But you want it to be able to have this very, very dark space and just be searching into it. You want to see something there or don't want to see it. It's very spooky. Yeah, that was the bulk of the conversation. Because it is one location. So there wasn't a ton that I had to deal with. And Graham and Mercedes, their teams did such amazing work that my job is pretty easy. I shouldn't say that, but it is.
That's the collaboration element too. You have to know who you're working with are going to kind of set you up for success, and vice versa. So how early did those conversations start, really, for the both of you, as you're kind of working through what you're, I guess maybe just how early do those conversations start with Ian, just beginning with your director?
Pretty early. I mean, after I'd read the script, I had a Zoom call with Ian, and he sent me the most detailed document I've ever seen in my life. And it had every frame sort of mapped out. And, most of my job was just sort of trying to make sure that his really, really precise, keen vision was sort of, I could bring it to fruition. And then I sort of just plopped it in AJ's lap, and he did all the cool stuff.
Well, before we get to more of the cool stuff, Sonny, I want to talk to you about that idea too. You said, horror is a different genre for you. How did you go about, essentially dissecting Ian's genre, or Ian's document rather, and capturing those moments of tension and helping to create that in the edit?
Ian was really trusting in me, which was awesome, especially for a guy with like no feature experience. And I kind of did the edit backwards. Like most editors start with a really long assembly, and I chopped everything out. I think my first cut was like 60 minutes long. And then sort of the process was adding flesh back onto a skeleton that we knew that worked, and really like extending long takes and keeping you at the edge, like, oh, when is it going to cut? And yeah, I mean, I can't sort of praise Ian enough for how open he was to ideas and letting us sort of run with our own stuff. And then we sort of developed a shorthand where I knew, and the whole team knew, that was something Ian would need to see. Like we would do something, we would make a tweak, and it's like, Ian's got to see that. And then he'd come into the room and you go, yeah.
How did you come to that approach, that idea of like kind of going to the bare bones? Because just thinking about it, and this is me just conjecture, like obviously in commercials, you're telling a very short story. So you kind of already very well know how to do something like that succinctly. Was that part of it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, commercials you're trying to tell a concise story in 30 seconds, and maybe at max you have a minute or 90 seconds. So I might have overdone it a little bit on this one, but it was something I was used to. And, I was trying not to panic. And I sort of just cut it the way I knew how to do it. And luckily it worked.
It's also how you know that it's scary just on its face. It's like, oh, it doesn't actually need all those things to create the suspense, but when you add them, it just makes it all the more juicy.
Yeah, there are a couple really nice little nuggets in there for you guys, so I hope you enjoy them.
Very juicy.
Yeah.
I told them that I was so scared by the trailer that I actually can't go watch the movie, so I can confirm that it was, even just that little bit, was enough for my imagination to go a little wild. What was that experience for you? What was your process like, AJ?
The process of being scared by the film?
Well, you just said you're not scared anymore. So, I mean, I guess maybe I should ask that. How did you work through it and you're now no longer scared by horror movies?
Well, we had camera tests before principal photography. So like starting the film was very easy because we had like sure footing on what we were planning on doing. And like I said, the production design and the camera team, awesome jobs. So it was very straightforward for me. I will say, as far as like Ian goes, I had all the runway in the world, and whenever it came down to any question, it was just turn to Ian and you get the thumbs up, and he would just give the simplest note, and you're like, of course, that's it. Like he did not interrupt at all. But if you're like, hey, Ian, what do you think of this? Like, no, yes.
He's a bit like a Roman emperor. You'd sort of do it,
Yeah, so the process honestly is a dream. It's the best kind of job to work on, where you just have all the room in the world to try whatever, and then have someone who's just like knows what's going on, and you can like always defer and just be like, does that work? No? Okay, well, try again. What
was something that you wanted to try? What were some of those kind of ideas that you started to have as you were developing it?
I'm trying not to give anything away, but there's a few moments where there were shots that we had to stitch together, and we weren't sure where exactly that would work, whether it's VFX or whether I'm going to do it. And there was just one day where we're trying a dozen different things, and maybe it was working, maybe it wasn't. And Ian in the background is just like said something, and I'm like, what was that? And we ended up using his idea, and it worked perfectly. And that's just quick edit in the color suite, and that's what you see on screen. It's a really nice process to be like just quickly hands-on fixing things like that were looming over us the whole time. Like, is this going to cost us another $20,000, or can we figure this out?
I mean, yeah, I guess that is kind of a just more general question is, what does happen when you guys get to those kind of roadblocks? I mean, obviously in this situation with Ian, it was very easy to get through it. But like, how did you learn how to develop the language to interact with you, whether it is your directors or your producers, just over time, and kind of explaining to sometimes people who don't have the technical knowledge, like, I think we need this, but I don't necessarily know, like, we can't like go back and reshoot or something like that.
Like I said, this is a team that has been working together for a really long time, so we already have kind of that shorthand and a lot of experience in filmmaking. But yeah, and we're also all really good friends, which helps. Everyone work with your friends; it's the best.
It's absolutely best. It's truly just, there's no work.
It's so much
just
fun.
hanging out.
But yeah, I don't know. We would just talk and try stuff, and lots of long nights. Trying stuff and showing it to our friends and getting feedback. But yeah, it was easy. It was fun.
Can I actually go back a little bit further? Because the idea also with that question is like, I think also sometimes when people are starting out in these jobs and in these careers, you're sort of just learning not just like how to use the Adobe software, but also like how to be an editor on a team. So I'm really curious about your journey. How did you find your way into editing?
Like everything else in my life, like ass backwards. I really wanted to be a director so bad, and then COVID happened, and my whole life changed. And I got a job at this post house in Toronto in commercials called Rooster, and I apprenticed under this really old school, hardcore British guy. And he kicked my ass for like 18 months and just took me from here to, I'm not tooting my own horn, but
movie at Sundance, you'll have to toot your own horn.
Thank you. But, he gave me the confidence that I could hang in any edit suite anywhere. And that's my story.
AJ, what about your story?
I'm a failed musician. And then I got a job working in a post house with a colorist and just fell in love with it. And then it worked out.
What was it that you fell in love with? What was it that, it is, everything about filmmaking is an art form, but it is its own very particular art that is not, it's not one that necessarily everyone's like, I want to be a colorist when I grow up.
And I didn't even know what color was before I got the job. So
you'd never seen the color blue before.
Honestly, I'm still working on it. If you see the movie, you'll know. Anyway,
it was actually a huge spoiler, and they're going to get into big trouble.
But no, I really don't know, because you're really spending a lot of time in a dark room, a lot of time by yourself. So I'm comfortable not seeing the light of day for weeks on end, and I spend as much time getting tan as I can. That's the move. I really can't say. You just like start doing something and you just like it and it feels natural, and you chase it down and just work hard at it, and it's just really fun. I don't know.
Can I ask, at what point did you realize you were good at it? That you had
like a few weeks ago, I think. No, I've been doing it for nearly 20 years. And I tell you, like, you go ebb and flow. Like some days you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then you come back and you're like, actually, I think I'm pretty good at this. I think I can do this. I think when you feel comfortable, that's when there's a problem, and then you start challenging yourself in weird ways to like do better. And you just keep moving the ball up the hill.
I was actually going to ask you a very similar idea to that, is like your advice for people when they do hit those ceilings of like, I actually don't know how to essentially like fix this problem or approach this shot. What is sort of your practical advice for people who are aspiring to one day be as accomplished as you?
You put your ego all the way out the door, and you don't worry about making mistakes, because that's where you find good things. And you just fail and keep going. You have the confidence of a lunatic, because you have to, like you forgive yourself a lot. There's no good answer to that, because if you're working hard, you will fail, and like it's inevitable, and you just keep going, and hopefully people forgive you a little and give you another shot. But I've never really failed that, right? So Yeah, I don't know if that's good advice to be a megalomaniac and
Well,
just.
I mean, delusion is kind of half the deal when it comes to artistic pursuits in general. We have to believe that we can actually do the thing and make it out of quite literally oftentimes like nothing. So
It was like a solid 5 years of faking it.
well, for you, Sonny, this idea of you had this mentor that kind of kicked your ass up to where you are now. What was a piece of advice that you learned from that process?
Oh, I was actually talking about it with someone earlier today that editing is like 10% of the job. The rest is learning how to navigate creative disagreements and big personalities and producers and, all the people who, want 10 different things and they're all sitting right behind you going, well, just move that one over like that. That one, that cut'll work. And, you have to, like AJ said, put your ego aside. Sometimes as an editor, you do just have to be someone's hands to show them, hey, this doesn't work, or hey, this does work. And that's a big thing too. Is same mentor taught me that is you have to, like, you get to a certain point as an editor, as a colorist, whatever, you can do it in your head, but not everyone can. So when you're working with people, you have to show them that it doesn't work.
I say never say no.
Yeah,
If someone asks for something, that the worst thing you can do is like say, I don't know. I don't know if that'll work. The only thing you can do is like, well, let's try. And then find out.
it means you're going to work 19 hours a day, but that's how you make a movie.
That's what we're all here for, is quite literally the hustle, the grind. But also congratulations. This is a great moment. And just again, y'all's premiere is tomorrow. So catch them when they're a little less stressed. They'll be feeling much better afterwards.
That's the height of stress.
Well, congratulations, you guys, Sonny and AJ. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, go see Undertone if you're not a scaredy cat like me.